Hi, I'm Kim Reynolds, Lieutenant Governor of Iowa, and welcome to this week's special State Fair edition of Ask the Gov. All of the questions that we'll be answering this week were questions that were asked at our booth in the Varied Industry Building during the State Fair. So with that, let's go ahead and get started. Our first question comes from Daniel of Des Moines, and Daniel asks, what are you going to do about kids getting bullied in school? And Daniel, this is really a timely question, so thank you for asking it. The governor and I announced a couple weeks ago that we will be having a conference on addressing bullying in schools. The conference will be held on November 27th, and it will be held at Hy-Vee Hall. You can actually receive more information about the conference if you go to preventbullying.iowa.gov. But what used to we need to stand up against bullying, and what used to be considered as just kids being mean is no longer acceptable. And we want to get parents and students and teachers and really communities involved in addressing this very serious issue. And our goal is we've got some great speakers. We've got Dr. Paul Gosman from Sioux City Superintendent, who is actually, one of his kids was featured in a film, who will be addressing the conference, as well as Rosalind Wiseman, who is an expert on bullying, will be the luncheon speaker at the conference. So we're looking forward to not only talking about how a community can react and be better prepared for this, but also finding some practical steps that schools can put in place to help address this really important issue. So please go online to preventbullying.iowa.gov to receive more information as it gets closer to November 7th. We're really proud to have the opportunity to put this in place, and we look forward to some pretty significant outcomes and really starting the conversation about what we can do to address this very, very serious issue. And our second question comes from John of Sumner, and John asks, why do most schools start before the end of the Iowa State Fair? Well, John, there is actually a process that school districts can go through to appeal for a waiver to adjust the start date for each one of their school districts through the Department of Education. We have put together a task force. Last year we put in place a blueprint for education reform, and we talked about the school date and really the length of the school year and how long the school day should be. So we had a lot of concern as we traveled across the state and held many, many, many town halls to really talk about our blueprint. And so as one of the results of the town halls that we held, we implemented a task force to address the issues that I just talked about, and one of those is the school start date. What time is an appropriate time for that to take place? Is it before the State Fair or after? Two other issues that we're asking the task force to address, again, is the length of the school year and who that would apply to, if all schools or some schools or just maybe students that need a little bit of extra time, as well as the length of the school day. I believe the target date for them to report back to the Department of Education as well as the Governor's Office is October 15th. So we're looking forward to that report, and from that report then we'll decide how we move forward with the legislative session. Our third question comes from Michelle of Des Moines, and Michelle asks, what are you doing to improve the Department of Human Services? Well, one of the first things that we did to improve the Department of Human Services was to bring Director Chuck Palmer back to lead the department, or to lead this agency. He served many years in that capacity, and Governor Branstad was very excited when Chuck Palmer agreed to come back and really turn around the Department of Human Services. He's done a great job in finding savings for Medicaid as he's continued to look at different ways to restructure the services. He's been very instrumental in the mental health reform to make sure that no matter where you live in the state of Iowa, that the quality of care that you receive is the same, and also looking at ways that we can go from a county by county and disproportionate services provided to having a statewide service delivery model, so we can also scale up and better utilize the Medicaid dollars that come into the state, and to ensure, as I indicated earlier, that all individuals have the access to the same level of services and care. He does a great job of fiscal responsibility, but he also has the empathy that's needed to ensure that we take care of those individuals that are not able to take care of themselves. So he has been very instrumental in really the mental health redesign, and as we kick this out and move through. Medicaid continues to be one of the highest cost to state government as we continue to deal with the numbers and the cost. We're very happy to have Chuck Palmer leading that agency.